Hey guys, it's Core Ross and we're with 6 News. So today we have the mid-season balancing for Year 5, Season 4.3. So this is the last mid-season balancing before Year 6 begins. So we'll begin with the usual, which is the balancing graphs. And to begin with, we've got the attackers. So most of them are in this region here, which isn't too bad, but it is a pity to see so many in the underpicked category here. Really not getting picked much at all. Blitz is doing terrible. Ash is getting picked a lot, but not winning all of her games, but 50%. And Zophia's not far behind us. Zophia's doing really well, actually. We've got Ace here doing great. He's winning, and he's got quite a high pick rate. So he's doing really well, and of course, he's a versatile pick for anyone out there. Then you've got your kind of regular picks here for teams. These kind of very useful operators who, again, they're not like winning loads of games or anything, but they're getting picked a decent chunk. Blackbeard apparently winning quite a lot of games, but doesn't have a huge presence or anything like that. And we can see, obviously Blitz and Glass and Monty here not doing well for pick rate or win rate at all. And of course, Shields got a big nerf last time around, so not a surprise to see the Shields down there. But let me know what you think about that. We'll move on to the defenders. So Jaeger still massive in the pick rate, above 90%. And he's relatively similar win delta as well, which means he's roughly winning and losing about 50% of the games. But that's because he's literally on both teams at the same time. Melusi's also getting dangerously high in pick rate too. And we can see that Valkyrie here is kind of winning and getting picked quite a lot. So, and of course, she's a valuable operator, a lot of intel, very useful. Legion's not doing too bad actually. And then we've got a nice collection towards the middle. This is where they want most of the operators to be. And we have a good collection there. Then we've actually got a few up in the underpicked and too strong category, but not like crazy. We've got Cav up here. We've got Mira over here. But then in our weaker kind of category, we've got Clash. We've got Wamai, Goyu, and Castle. To be honest, that doesn't look too bad, but usually I would be expecting the defender graph to be a bit more crazy, so it's kind of interesting to see that this is actually getting quite tight in some areas. So interesting. Let me know what you think of both of these graphs in the comments below. Then we have our ban rates. Thatcher getting banned the most, Blackbeard getting banned second, which is actually quite interesting, I think. And then we go down to the other operators and it trails off. Then on to our defender ban rate. So Mira's up here as the most banned. Then we got Melusi, then it's Valk, then it's Clash. And of course, this is PC, Platinum, and above. So it's quite interesting, I think, to see Clash getting banned so often. But I'm actually very surprised to see Melusi up here. Obviously, people are getting really good at using her, and obviously people are also getting annoyed at going up against her, so they're banning her. So yeah, curious indeed. But let me know what you think of these ban rates as well. So let's get on to the mid-season balancing, the actual changes to operators. So Ash is the first one here, getting a nerf. So of course, last time around, she kind of got a buff when she got an extra breaching round. So they're actually making the explosive damage radius of this, they're making it smaller. So it's going down to 2 meters from 3.5. You have to be a bit more accurate if you want to take out certain stuff, and you'll destroy less collateral. So yeah, this is definitely interesting. But I think it's a relatively small thing because Ash's gadget is very precise. You can use it very well. So I'm not going to expect this to be too bad for anyone, but it'll be interesting. And they say that what they expect to see from this is things like Cade's Electroclaw might get destroyed less by an Ash breaching charge because of the reduced range. So we'll see how that plays out. Of course, this is going to be a test server pretty soon. It's not up just yet, but in about half an hour from when I'm actually recording this, it will be up, and we'll be able to take a closer look at stuff. And then Buck is getting a bit of a buff here, so he's going to have more shotgun rounds. He's going to have 30 plus 1, up from 26, and he's getting the hard breaching charge as well, so he's losing the Claymore. That is going to make him very, very versatile. He's going to have a lot of breaching capability with his shotgun, of course, and be able to even go through hard walls as well, or hatches. So that's really good. I think Buck right now is looking like a potentially, I don't know. Like, I'm not going to quite make my mind up on this yet, but this looks good. We'll see. Then we've got some echo changes. So of course he got nerfed dramatically last time around. So this time he's getting a reduced yokai jump cooldown. So it's going to 2 seconds from 3. They're going to reduce the animation from when it gets stuck on the roof but doesn't actually, and it falls back down. So that's going to go down to half a second instead of 2, which is definitely good. Because most of the time it's annoying when you fly up to the roof and it just sits there for a second, then flies back down, this will be much less annoying. And they're also reducing the cooldown of the Sonic Burst. It is going down to 16 seconds instead of 20, so he'll be able to set off more of them. But of course, it sounds like it's still going to take as long to charge up. So, you could look at this as either a nice kind of change when it comes to comfort for Echo players, but not really a buff, I would say. Now, Ella here is getting an interesting change. So this looks like they're starting to take away the passive abilities of operators. So what they're doing is removing the resistance to concussion effects from Ella. Definitely an interesting change. And they're going to take away that extra mind she has when she goes down but not out. So overall, I'm curious. That isn't going to have a big effect, I think, on players. But, maybe it'll be somewhat noticeable. Yeah, certainly an interesting change. And yeah, that means that is going. And the devs say here, additionally, we feel that removing these hidden mechanics, so I think this is it. I think passive abilities are going to start going, like Zophia's withstand and stuff like that. I think that's all going to start to disappear. So it looks like that's kind of where they're starting to move to. Then we got Cali. She's getting a bit of love here. So, or maybe not in some cases. We'll have to see what you think of this. So her sniper rifle, base damage is set to 122 and 100% damage until 25 meters. So most engagements, of course, kind of happen in 25 meters, and then after that it's actually going to go down. But this is the big change here. So one body shot to a 3 speed will kill them instantly, not a down, it will kill them now. And one body shot will down a 2 speed, and one shot will damage a 1 speed operator. So instead of this gun just downing everybody one hit to the chest, it's going to insta-kill 3 speed, it's going to down the 2 speed, but it's not going to down the 1 speed. So that's a big change. That is a kind of a mix of good and bad for Cali. So yeah, that is actually going to have something going to have to sit down and test, and that is a big change for her. Then we've got a big nerf for Legion. He's losing the 1.5 scope from his T5. Not surprised by that. And yeah, that's them using the new scopes as balancing tools. So he is losing that very good scope. And then Lion, he is getting a Claymore and he's losing the hard breaching charge. So not probably that big of a surprise. We're gaining it on Buck, we're losing it on Lion. I kind of understand that. And then Melusi is removing the angle grip from the MP5. So obviously we're seeing that she is very powerful right now and she's getting picked a lot and winning a lot. But the problem is this isn't really going to make a big difference, I don't think. But, certainly it will be a little bit worse for her to do quick engagement. So we'll see how that plays out in, of course, next season's mid-season balancing, where we see how that might have changed her balancing overall. Mira is also losing 1.5 scope. Not a surprise because that's a great gun. And that 1.5 scope on it is amazing. So I'm not surprised it's gone. And yeah, that's going to hurt Mira players right there, I think. And here we go, Zofia. Removing resistance to concussion effects, removing withstand, and reducing impact grenade explosive damage to 2 meters was 3. So of course similar to what Ash got as well. So that's a big change there. And like I said, yeah, they're taking away all the passives. So that's it. Zofia has lost withstand. And yeah, that is certainly interesting. And like, this isn't going to have a major effect on our pick rate or anything. Either's this, but this will certainly hurt players trying to take out gadgets and stuff. So yeah, interesting. Then we got weapon gadget and balancing, ballistic shields, removed set to 0 to camera penalization during guard break animations. This is something I'm just going to have to test basically with some gameplay and see what it's like and compare it to the previous one and see if I think it will make a massive difference, but I'll have to really test that one out. So we'll see. Hard breaching charges are being buffed, so reduced deployment time and reduced activation time. This is potentially huge. Like, we could see a massive change in countering this, because right now it is pretty easy to counter the secondary hard breach. With this buff, that might not be the case anymore. This could hurt Kaid quite a bit, so I'll have to test that and see. Then we got recoil. So they're actually improving recoil for consoles. So this is, of course, controller players. That doesn't just mean the actual console. If you play on PC with a controller like I do, you get the reduced recoil as well. So this is going to be improving the recoil on controller for the ARX, the C8, the M114, and the TCSG12. So yeah, that will just make it easier to control those weapons on console. Not a bad thing at all, and it should be very good for the control players out there and console players. And then we've got world balancing pre-reinforced hatches. So they did test for a while in the TS pre-reinforced roof hatches. So that's the hatches that are above the actual building, like on the roofs and stuff that defenders cannot get to actually reinforce. They went and they tested to see over multiple seasons whether it might work on the test server to have pre-reinforced roof hatches. They have decided no, it did not work out, and they are not going to do it. But they do say that they're going to continue to kind of play around with wacky ideas on the test server. So expect other weird things to show up in the test server in the future, but like this, they may not actually make it to live. So yeah, let me know what you think of these mid-season balancing. Like I say, we're going to actually get this patch downloaded and test some of this out and see what it actually changes for gameplay. But it seems very interesting. And of course, nothing major in here because we're about to get the reveal of year 6, and of course there'll be probably huge balancing changes that are way bigger than this when that shows up. Anyway guys, let me know what you think of this in the comments below, and I'll catch you next time.